Why are Jews and Arabs always at war? A deeper story, one that began thousands of years ago with a single family. Long before modern borders, long before rockets and political treaties, long before there was even a nation called Israel or a people called Palestinians, there was only a man named Abraham and a promise from God. Abraham lived in a time when people worshipped many gods, but one day, the true God, the creator of heaven and earth, spoke to him and said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation." Abraham believed, he obeyed. But there was a problem. His wife Sarah could not have children. As the years passed and the promise seemed farther away, doubt crept in. Then Sarah made a desperate decision. She offered her servant Hagar to Abraham so he could have a child through her. It was a common practice in that time, but it would change the course of history. Hagar gave birth to Ishmael, Abraham's first son, and Abraham loved him. For 13 years, he believed Ishmael was the fulfillment of God's promise. But then the impossible happened. Sarah, though old and barren, miraculously conceived a child. His name was Isaac, the son of the promise, the child through whom God would establish his covenant. And from that moment, tension filled the household. 2 sons, 2 mothers, 2 destinies, 1 inheritance. Sarah became jealous and demanded that Hagar and Ishmael be sent away. With great sorrow, Abraham obeyed. Hagar and her son were cast into the desert, where they nearly died but God intervened. He comforted Hagar and made another promise. "I will make Ishmael into a great nation too. 2 brothers, 2 nations, 2 destinies." From Isaac came Jacob, later renamed Israel, and from him, the 12 tribes that would form the nation of Israel, the Jewish people. From Ishmael came 12 princes and the great Arab tribes that spread across the deserts of the Middle East. And thus began a family rivalry that would span generations, one fueled by inheritance, identity, and blessing. Fast forward centuries, the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt, freed by Moses and led to the Promised Land. There they built a kingdom, with Jerusalem as its heart. But their disobedience to God led them into exile, and their land was conquered time and time again. Meanwhile, the descendants of Ishmael became strong. They settled across Arabia and northern Africa. In the 7th century, one of them, Muhammad, claimed to receive divine revelation, giving rise to a new faith, Islam. And Islam too honored Abraham, but through Ishmael, not Isaac. Suddenly there were 2 faiths, both claiming to be children of Abraham, both looking to the same land, both seeing Jerusalem as sacred, but with different paths and different beliefs about who truly held the promise. A modern flame from an ancient fire. For centuries, the land we now call Israel and Palestine was ruled by empires. Roman, Byzantine, Islamic, Ottoman. Jews were scattered across the world, often persecuted and hated. But they never forgot the land of their ancestors. They prayed to return. After the horror of the Holocaust in World War II, the world opened a door. In 1948, the State of Israel was declared, a homeland for the Jewish people. But this land was not empty. It had long been inhabited by Arab Palestinians, many of whom were displaced or forced to flee during the war. And so the ancient tension between brothers erupted into modern warfare. Arab nations rejected the new state and launched attacks. Israel defended itself and survived. But generation after generation grew up in fear, hatred, and bloodshed. The Palestinians, many of whom became refugees, felt robbed of their land and identity. The Jews, survivors of centuries of persecution, felt they were finally home and would never leave again. And so the conflict continues. Not just over borders, but over history, faith, and the deep pain of 2 peoples who believe they are the rightful heirs. But what does God say? The Bible tells us this story began not with armies, but with a family. 2 sons, 2 mothers, and a broken relationship that never healed. It wasn't just political, it was personal. It was spiritual. But even in the midst of the pain, God's heart was never for division. Jesus, the Son of God, descended from Abraham through Isaac, came not to destroy but to reconcile. And he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." True peace will never come through treaties, politics, or military power. It will only come when hearts are transformed. When the descendants of Ishmael and the descendants of Isaac find healing, not in history but in Christ, the Prince of Peace. One day every sword will be laid down, every tear will be wiped away, and 2 ancient brothers will finally be reconciled. not by man but by God himself.